Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. So I'm going to tell you a story about, I went to Burning Man about 3 years ago. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's this counterculture festival in the middle of nowhere. It's 100 miles from Reno in the desert. And basically 50,000 people show up there for a week and just get weird. There's no main stage. There's not like a musical act or anything. There's just everyone goes and they set up these camps and throw parties and give seminars and there's art, and at night everything's covered in neon lights, and there's techno music and drugs, a lot of drugs, and there's like spirituality and yoga, and it's kind of this mishmash of counterculture and hippie and spirituality, and it's really fun. I did not go there for any of those things I just mentioned, though. I went for the sex part of it. It's a very sexually open place. People do not wear much clothing. Like if someone has a tank top on, you're like, whoa, why are they so dressed up today? That's what's going on. There's actually camps that are called sex camps, where they're there to have like sex things happen. Like they throw orgies. And I was like, this is great. Like I'd had girlfriends, I'd had sex, but I'd never had like illicit, weird, dirty desert sex, you know? I was like, I'm gonna have sex wearing nothing but a wolf mask. Which I mean both literally and metaphorically, you get me? This is gonna be a wild time, and so I go out there, I was so excited for all this sexing I was gonna do, and it just did not happen. I could not get laid at Burning Man. Because what I discovered is, like, it's a very sexual place, but you still have to you still have to go up to a girl and there's no internet or phones. There's no like, hey, can I take you out to dinner later? It's like now or never. You have to be like, hey, if you're done glow sticking, let's have sex over there. Like that's how you have to do it, basically. I'm just not good at that sort of forward nature. And then I was like, well, the sex camps, like I'll do those. I'll go to one of those orgies. What I discovered is single dudes not welcome at orgies. Which makes sense, because if they were, orgies would just be a bunch of single dudes being like, when's this thing gonna kick off? Where are the ladies? So no sex. I did not have sex, but it was still a great week because something else happened. I fell in love with a man. And it isn't about coming out of the closet. What happened is much gayer than that. I fell head over heels in friendship with a young man named Pedro from London. He became my bestie. And I'd always had good friends, like I have good male friends, but I'd never fallen this fast before, you know? He just swept me off my feet. And I would say I don't know quite how it happened, but I know exactly how it happened, and it's drugs. Drugs played a big part. I'd never done drugs before I went to Burning Man, but I was like, I want to be open and try new things, and so I was going to try drugs. And in the camp I was staying with, they have a tradition called Acid Monday. How it works is on Monday you take acid. It's the simplest traditions are the best usually. So my second day there, I took acid for the first time in my life, and I'd always been scared and nervous about drugs. I'd been through the DARE program, and I believed everything they told me. So I'd always been like, why do people do these dangerous things? Why do people like drugs? And I found out it's because they're super fun. Drugs, I love LSD, it turns out. I found that out. So we went out on Acid Monday, and it's like putting a wide-angle lens on your brain. You just see and feel everything, and the earth is vibrating, and you're like, I feel those vibrations, this is fantastic. And you laugh, and it's like you're a kid just exploring the world for the first time. And then there's this emotional component, which kind of makes sense, because originally it was used for therapy. And you really bond with the people you're tripping with. And one of those people was Pedro. And we spent the whole Acid Monday together just laughing and talking, and there was nothing romantic or sexual about it. We just liked to be within 5 feet of each other at all times, that's all. It really started to feel like we were a whole. Like if we got a few feet apart from each other, it was like we were cut in half. So if someone was like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, he's like, well, I guess I do too. Let's go to the bathroom together. Like that's just how it was. But it kept going after the next day when we were no longer on drugs. We just hung out all week. We'd eat together. We would go to parties together. We started, about halfway through the week, we started calling each other hubby. We'd be like, do you need a beer, hubby? That'd be great. Yeah, where should we go tonight, hubby? And people started teasing us. They said, like, you're going to get voted the cutest couple in camp, which didn't work as a tease because we deserved it. We were adorable. So this went on all week, and we got to Saturday, and Saturday's the biggest party of the week. They burn the man that the thing gets the name for, and 50,000 people ring this giant wooden statue, and it goes up in flames, and everyone watches as it burns to the ground, and as soon as the last piece falls, it just people start singing and dancing and taking their clothes off and crying and hugging, and I started running around. There's people running around the ashes, and I was running around. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, I am alive. I was on LSD again, I should mention. And so after 15 minutes, I came out of this sort of fugue state, and my first thought was, where's Pedro? Where's my Pedro? And I went looking for him, and I found him, and I walked up to him, and I gave him a hug, and I said, Pedro, before the drugs wear off, I have to tell you that I love you. And he said, I love you too, and he cried. Hubby's a bit of a crier, so he was crying, and I didn't realize at the time, but afterwards, that it was the first time in my life that I had said I love you to another man who was not my father. Because I grew up in Colorado in a little bit of a conservative place. It's kind of like the macho, middle America, emotions are bad. Like, you just didn't go like, hey, great Broncos game, and also you're really special to me, man. Like, that wasn't cool. And so I'd felt love for friends before, but I'd never expressed it. And it felt really good. Like, it's nice to be sincere. And so that was, for Burning Man, it's like it changes a lot of people's life. They join Peace Corps or take up capoeira or something. It didn't change my life, but I took with me that lesson that sincerity felt good, that it was good to tell the people you cared about how you felt about them. And so I tried to bring that with me back into the world, and I still do it. And Pedro and I are, of course, still very good friends. He's living in London, so we're doing the long-distance thing, which is tough, but we're making it work. And my wife has been very understanding about this whole thing, which is nice. I'm Matteson Perry. That's my story. Thanks, guys.